The Timeless Child is the greatest thing to have happened to Doctor Who. Okay, that's a lie. Chibnall has royally f***ed it. But it can be saved and progressed without backtracking.
The Timeless Child.
I'm the Doctor.
You are the Timeless Child.
I'm Tecteun.
Built on the lie of the Timeless Child.
It's a good entrance.
How many more of me are out there?
You denied me my life!
You're gonna love this.
Upon revealing the Doctor as the Timeless Child, the Doctor Who fandom went into meltdown. Some like it. Others are starting to go down the incredibly toxic Star Wars fan rabbit hole. Now, I'm not a fan of this arc, but the latest series, Flux, gave us the best of Chibnall, the worst, and also this scene.
You took something that didn't belong to you.
I rescued you. Would you prefer to have been left?
You assumed I came through that wormhole, but you don't know.
What if?
You denied me my life!
I gave you a life. You judge me for giving you the journey of your lifetime.
We are not the same.
Honestly, one of my favourites of Whittaker's, a Doctor I still have struggled to connect with even as she looks to close out her run. However, the brief elements explored here show us how the Doctor's story can continue with great promise and anticipation. As I mentioned, I have had a hard time connecting with Jodie's Doctor. She's not felt compelling in any way, and 99% of that is down to poor writing. However, I haven't really liked Jodie in this role yet anyway. With that said, there have been moments, more prominent this series, where she has been convincing, she has been compelling, and I've wanted more of that. First of all, this has made me wish she would stay on for one more series under Davies's more compelling, emotional and methodical writing, just to truly see her capabilities, as we've not even scratched the surface of her acting ability, the Doctor's emotions and the Doctor's story. In Series 13's episode 5 titled Survivors of the Flux, an episode I was not too keen on, the little positives I did get from it was the Doctor's interactions with Tecteun.
Interfered in contravention of all Time Lord directives.
The core story of Division, this seemingly all-powerful group of operatives, whilst has kept me intrigued this series, as a whole I think is going to cause more problems than it potentially fixes or satisfies. Leaning into the secrecy of this operation is not the future of Doctor Who. It potentially leans into the issue Marvel has started to have. These all-powerful beings suddenly were nothing. Mean nothing, when history has always been controlled by this secret time organisation. And yes, on the surface it makes for an entertaining show, but it makes creating stakes difficult. This is but one issue that may follow on from the Division story. The Timeless Child breaks Doctor Who. Not in a canon way, realistically, it fixes quite a few plot holes. Makes a few, but fixes a few. It breaks specifically the Doctor's character. The Doctor's a Time Lord, nothing special about her other than being a Time Lord, an alien, wanting to explore the universe and help people. Not by using special powers or weapons, or because she's an omnipotent god, a chosen one, but because it's nice. If this video isn't your cup of tea, check out this recap on Doctor Who Series 11 and 12, or perhaps you prefer Marvel, check out the Hawkeye timeline and recap, perfect before watching the Hawkeye series on Disney+.
I'm not trying to win. I'm not doing this because I want to beat someone, or because I hate someone, or because I want to blame someone. It's not because it's fun. God knows it's not because it's easy. It's not even because it works, because it hardly ever does. I do what I do because it's right, because it's decent, and above all, it's kind.
The Doctor does what she does because it's nice. It's the reason she keeps saving humanity, the reason she always gives her rivals a choice before defeat, the reason she tries to help the Master no matter how evil an act he performs. Despite this character trait, she's experienced darkness, experienced pain and sadness, and so much of that is linked to the Time Lords, and yet any chance she gets she saves them, bound to them, as they are her people, her family. And this is where the story goes. The Doctor has spent years, lifetimes, grieving over the deaths of billions of children, mourning over the actions she took to save the universe from the destruction of her people. So just a quick thought, Division is this powerful operation, right? So powerful they can literally create a universe-ending virus that tears through planets in seconds, can create time travel, can hop multiverses, but they couldn't deal with the Daleks? They chose that moment to not interfere? Did they not care? Or did they know the Doctor would save them so didn't need to act? She spent centuries trying to think of other ways she could have done it, and regretting every moment after. They are essentially family. Family isn't always the people you get on with all the time, but they are there. They are your backbone, your identity, your home, and that's all gone. Not only physically gone, again, thanks to the Master, but they were never her people from the beginning, but her abductors, the ones that took her from her real family and experimented on her. A betrayal that can't be undone. She has no ties with her people anymore, and that's more dangerous to the Time Lords than anything done before. Dark Doctor, Angry Doctor is Jodie at her best, and it's where the story should go. To lean into the betrayal of the Time Lords. She's now alone, a child taken from her real home. Let her self-reflect and hate herself for the similarities they share. Ask most Doctor Who fans and they'll say the Timeless Child arc is a story that never needed to be told. The Doctor's past, her time on Gallifrey, should only be mentioned briefly to create further mystery and add to legend, not, as Chibnall has done, completely rewrite her and the Time Lord's entire past and meaning to the show. This is exactly how this story should go from here. Nothing is going to be satisfying enough to make up for rerouting her history. We don't need to know her real race, name, parents or planet. Instead you keep the focus on the Time Lords, as it always has been, but instead of this rose-tinted glasses effect in the Davies era, the legendary Time Lords, they are her capturers. This should leave a lasting impact on her, as did her actions in the Time War, but you don't need to explore it any further, historically wise. The way Doctor Who works best in my opinion is by having a 3-story structure. The first is the episodic story, the villain of the week, what threat are they posing? The second is the series story, what is all this building to? The subtle mentions throughout a series such as Bad Wolf, The Crack in the Wall, Harold Saxon. And finally, the Doctor's story, a long-term effect that is shown through her actions and characteristics over many series, 5 to 10 years worth. For example, being the last of the Time Lords, the story follows her into each series and each episode, affecting the outcomes and decisions she makes. In recent years, these definitions have all gotten a bit jumbled up, and it's not entirely Chibnall's fault. After the 50th anniversary, the Doctor's story, lasting the next 5 to 10 years, should have been Gallifrey being lost and the Doctor trying to find it. However, I think they weren't sure what to really do with it, and so solved it fairly quickly with no explanation really, only for Chibnall to just go ahead and destroy the place again, upgrading Gallifrey to the series story in Series 12, and now both series and episodic story with this continuous structure in Series 13. It needs to instead be slowly downgraded once again to the Doctor's story, perhaps then promoting it for specials such as regeneration stories, holiday specials and anniversaries, as they did for the 50th. If you enjoyed this piece on Doctor Who, perhaps you would enjoy how music has failed Doctor Who, covering the Doctor's themes and its impact on story and emotion. With that said, don't forget to subscribe.